Call the regular council meeting at City Hall, City of St. John, July 3rd, 2018 at 7 p.m. Okay, let's jump into additions to the agenda. New business, West Street and 5th Street.
Second.
Motion and a second. Christine Sanders. Any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Carries 3-0. Citizens' comments? Don't believe so. Just for the people at home. Or don't let me.
Yeah.
Okay, consent agenda. Approved minutes, regular council meeting, June 19th, 2018. Appropriation on ordinance 070318 in the amount of $68,742.83 and petty cash $300.95.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Sanders and Bryant. Any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Carries 3-0. Department head and committee reports. Grant Administrator Lisa Cornwell.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be meeting with Lisa Thursday at 10. She said she doesn't have a report for this evening, but she did say that she wrote the Bark for Your Park grant, and there's several other grants available for dog parks that she's gonna send the same application to. But she did say that the Bark for Your Park hasn't given a grant to a city smaller than 25 to 30,000 historically, so she wants to send it to foundations that actually support smaller towns. And then no good news on street grant for 5th Street.
No news or no good news?
No good news?
Yeah.
I
it
talked
says
to
no
her
good
today,
news.
she told me at lunch there was no money for the asphalt on Fifth Street.
Okay.
She said not that she found so far.
Okay. Anything else?
Not from Lisa.
Council want to direct Jamie to ask Lisa anything? Okay.
Oh, I guess I can ask you guys because you were around. I was gonna talk to Jeff as well. She did ask for 16 and 17, the Golden Belt Community Foundation grant for benches. The walking program was completed, but were the benches purchased? Do you guys know anything about benches and the walking?
They weren't purchased.
They weren't? Okay.
They were to replace some of the stuff up in the park, is what they were for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That gives me my answer for when I meet with her.
Okay. Moving on, Police Chief Adam Saylor report.
As requested, the activity report been put on our Facebook page, city website. I did put a blurb on the Facebook page that we would have a hard copy in here at the city office if anybody would come and look at it. I don't have that yet, but I'll have it down here by tomorrow. So that's,
Thursday.
well, I'm working tomorrow, so it'll be in there tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw that. I appreciate it, Chief.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Thank you very much for that.
And then what I have for the purchase over the spending limit, I wanted to see if we could revisit the prisoner partitions that we discussed previously. The main reason is within the past month and a half, we've had two separate individuals that we've had to deal with that were just knuckleheads out of control. We are seeing, it's not just us, thank goodness we're not seeing as many as other places, but our contacts that were coming are of an altered mental status due to the opioid stuff, prescription drugs, all that kind of stuff is escalating and it's not going to get any better. So I contacted the guy that gave me the estimate the first time and asked him if that quote was still good. He said it was, but then he also changed the quote because he has a used cage that was in good condition that was about a little less than half of, or a little over half of what the previous one was. So the new and like I said, this is the pretty much the exact same quote that we received the first time around. But the one in the car would be a good condition use cage. The price includes all the equipment as well as the installation, and that would be them coming here to install it. So we're not going to be out of time having to go back and forth to hand over to get them installed and that kind of thing. So it's not going to, won't be any scheduling issues, anything like that. They can come right down here and put them in.
What's the need?
The need, you missed it, I think, when you came in. We've had a couple individuals recently that we had to arrest that were out of control and necessitated having a cage in our patrol vehicles for safety reasons, not only for us, for them. One of them that they transported with the help of the sheriff's officer who didn't have a cage in his car attempted to open the door while going highway speed and get out of the vehicle.
And you shut the door?
I wasn't there. No, yes, it was we're gonna reach around real quick and shut the door. Unfortunately, the thing about it is, as much as we like or don't like it, as soon as we arrest them, they become our responsibility. And we have to take every measure we can to make sure that they arrive at their destination safely and in as good a health, if not better, than what we got.
So what did it cost to use the sheriff's car?
It didn't cost anything except for the fact it was not a good situation or a safe situation for us to have to arrest them, put them in our car, transport them to the sheriff's office, get them out of our car, process them through the sheriff's office and back in another car. Both of these cases necessitated being able to stick this person in a car, restrain them, and get them to a secure facility. I mean, this is by no means a want or desire to just spend some money. It's becoming a necessity. As I told them, the individuals we're contacting with mental illness, prescription opioid-induced stuff going on up in their heads that we've never seen before, we're encountering now. And it's only becoming more prevalent.
What's council think about maybe both or just maybe one of the vehicles and having, I mean, I know you'd still have to put them in whatever vehicle you're in and then put them in the other vehicle of ours to get them to wherever, but at least you would have a cage in one vehicle or both. What's council think?
I think it's a perfect opportunity for city and county to work together and have one cage vehicle.
I would agree with that, but I don't think from over there they're open to it. There's a negative, I think there's a sort of a negative attitude between that. I just don't, I hate to put words out there that I'm not 100% on, but I feel that from things I hear from people there, people here, in a sense. That's my personal opinion. But if we could work together, we could work together.
With the past transport, there was no issues. The undersheriff offered to go get the vehicle. The vehicle was at another deputy's house. He had to take his vehicle over there, get it, put gasoline in it, and bring it back. You know, the original agreement, when they agreed to help us out, they had a transport vehicle that was permanently at the sheriff's office. They've hired a fifth deputy now, and that's not the case.
They no longer have a transport vehicle.
Well, they do. They have a new vehicle ordered for the deputy.
Okay.
Right.
So they will have a
They
transport
will
vehicle
have a
at some point.
transport vehicle.
But I guess you know, I see part of my job is the risk management side of it too. And just one time of us having to scuffle unnecessarily with somebody we have in cuffs, and I mean, as soon as we put the cuffs on, they're our responsibility. So whatever medical costs they incur from anything that might happen, the city's on the hook for.
Well, I had read a story here recently where an inmate shot 2 officers and killed him because it was coming out of a building into another vehicle because they had been put out of a vehicle into the building and then back out. It was all the transitioning. They think that anytime we need equipment, we jump to get equipment, and I think this is safety is a concern for me, and we need to make sure people are safe.
Mr. Mayor, I think your position is to direct the council meeting and not interject opinions.
No, from time to time in my job description, it says that I can offer my opinion. I will stop my comments on this issue. I can respect that.
Chief, do you have enough money in your account for something this thing?
In capital outlay, I've got right around, I believe, 22,000.
If you had to choose between both of these vehicles and only putting one in, which one would you prefer?
I would probably do the truck just because it's easier. You know, there's more room in the truck, in the back seat. It would be easier to get inmates in and out.
I think that the safety of our officers is paramount. I'm not real crazy about the price, but
$970 for the charger, and then another $200 installation fee, is that right? So,
Well, you've got, basically, it's 250 installation per. But then for an additional 200, they will come here and put them in without us having to travel there. Now, that's gonna be cheaper than the gas and overtime. I'm gonna have to pay somebody to go back and forth twice to have them put in. So that's, I mean, that's a pretty good deal as far as I'm
Plus
concerned.
we down vehicle.
which vehicle do you think they're gonna keep longer?
At this point in time, it would be, I would probably say the Charger. The truck, you know, we've had issues with it, it's higher mileage. It's around 65,000, the Charger's just about ready to turn 50,000. So,
So in putting this in your vehicle, do you think that you'll start transporting them to Rice County or wherever it is?
We have to
Or do
go-
you think,
we have to go wherever there's room.
so the county won't transport them from St. John to Rice County anymore, you will do that?
If it's a municipal court case, yeah. If it's a district court case, then the county would still transport. But all of our misdemeanors and, you know, our domestic violence, DUIs, all that kind of stuff that are misdemeanor charges that we prosecute through municipal court, we would be doing the transport.
Okay.
But when you initially pick someone up, it's not a court case yet, at that time. Am I correct?
If we initially pick somebody up and arrest them, they have the opportunity to bond or they go to jail. So, yeah, I mean, if we have probable cause to put handcuffs on them, then it hasn't per se been filed with the county or city attorney yet. But if they don't bond out, they're going to jail. I mean, yeah. So the transport is,
And the sheriff objects to sharing cages, et cetera, and working
I
together.
don't know.
no, the sheriff has not objected in helping us at all. This is purely a safety issue and a liability issue, the way I see it, of having to get them in and out of vehicles. The more time you have somebody in cuffs, the more agitated they get. It's just, I just think it's for the best.
I guess I'm okay with getting a cage, but what we're gonna step into is you're gonna start transporting unlike you've been doing right now. And is that okay?
No, it's not gonna change our transports at all.
Right now, you still transport to Rice County or wherever?
Yeah, the one I arrested last week, I transported to Rice County.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize that. I thought the county did all your transports.
No.
Okay.
Historically, they did, because everything was prosecuted through district court.
Okay.
So when it's a district court case, even though we make the arrest, they automatically become an inmate of the sheriff because it's handled through district court. But like I said, now with our, domestic violence, which is a mandatory arrest, DUI, all those charges that are misdemeanors that are now handled in municipal court that weren't handled in years past, then we do those transports.
How often do you think, when do you think the next time you're gonna upgrade vehicles is?
Several months ago, I tried to upgrade the truck. I mean, it needs to be, the issues with that truck, I would prefer to get it going as soon as possible. And, a couple of years ago, when we did our strategic plan, that was the idea behind building up the capital outlay and replacing our vehicles at basically around 50 to 60,000 miles, because they still had a balance of the factory warranty. When we traded them in, we would get a good trade-in, and we would get to the point where we're paying cash for vehicles instead of borrowing money. That's a roundabout way of answering your question. So I would say as soon as possible on the truck. It just depends on how long we want to limp it along, I guess.
And I would almost say just if you're gonna do it, just do one vehicle. I certainly, if I was a police officer, would not feel comfortable transporting someone all the way to Rice County with someone in the back, that doesn't have a cage. And I think for this amount of money, it's kind of a no-brainer to me. I would almost say, yeah.
Thoughts from others?
It's which one, which one's gonna be around longest, or
Well, that's my thinking, if you say that the Charger's gonna be around longer, if we're gonna if only do one, then we would do the Charger.
I would say so, because you have a money savings there too.
Right, so you're looking at what, $970 for just that one right there?
1,100
$1,100?
plus the installation cost.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
they come out here and
installation.
do installation.
So you're looking at 1170. So I wouldn't have a problem with that. Don't know about the rest of you.
Thoughts? Motion?
I move to allow Chief Sailor to purchase a prisoner transport cage at 1170 for the 2014 Dodge Charger.
Motion on the table?
second.
Motion and a second. Ryan and Christie, any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Give it to him. Carries 3-2.
Oh, I haven't do this yet.
And like I said, before we move on from that, I just want to reiterate, there's no issues with the sheriff helping or anything like that. I mean, that's been fine. Like I said, it was more of a safety issue on that, so. That's all I got.
Anything for Chief?
Have any issues on Saturday?
No, Saturday was good.
Good. Good.
Well, yeah, except for Bill running over firecrackers.
Thank you, Chief.
Anything from the fire chief?
No.
Anything that needs to be related to the fire chief? Anybody? City clerk, Jamie Getty.
Still working on the budget. Melissa and I are gonna sit down again on Monday because we're running into some issues that we need to get lined out. So more than likely, I'm gonna request probably a special meeting next week so we can all sit down and go into it a little bit further in detail, because the next meeting, we're gonna have to, do I have my days right? I'm gonna have to get it accepted and published for August. Let me check my numbers here.
You have to have it done by the last meeting that we have.
Yeah, we have to have the hearing on the 7th of August, and I have to publish it by the July 19th. So our next meeting, I need it approved so I can publish it that Thursday. So more than likely, I'm gonna request a special meeting next week. So, I mean, the numbers aren't working out as smooth as I thought they were going to. And when I was on the phone with Melissa today, she just kept saying, oh boy, oh boy. And by the end of the conversation, she gave me more things to research and look up, and she basically said that we need to start watching a little bit more. So take it for what it's worth in the middle of the process where, I mean, we're not completely through everything. And I mean, those are just putting in the rough numbers. That's not going and researching everything and what's actually been being spent for 18, but it's just interesting so far. But we'll get there. She, I think, is out the rest of the week, so Monday is her first day to be able to sit down again after what I went through and researched everything else this last go around. So
Quick. If she's looking at possibly a meeting next week, would same schedule like we do, Tuesday at 7 next week, be a potential date? I want to get the call now before I just set a date, because I want you guys to be able to be there.
Set a date and I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Just trying to accommodate everyone.
Most likely I'll be here.
I'll be here.
But that could be
Possibility maybe a little bit later if we could,
Okay.
like 8.
Okay.
yeah, because I think I actually have a class that
But
But
that would be
if it works for everybody else.
That would be
I mean,
fine.
whatever, you just tell me.
Kind of
I'm
works better for
flexible.
me if it's later,
Just,
so.
just if I'm
I'm
trying to
flexible,
spit all
whichever-
time or
whatever
something, that
works
gives
for
you an
Just
idea.
make it work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Whatever.
probably
Yeah,
already
whatever.
done the appropriation ordinance. I had a question on it. You had $400 and some odd cents for cell phones for the police department in it, if I recall. Why?
Why do we pay for their cell phones?
We have radios.
Isn't that also, are there some other, Jeff, do you guys have anything on that as well? What was I looking
No.
at?
The only
She's wrong.
thing, the only thing with Visa is the police department, and we have the, what are they?
The MiFi internet,
Yeah,
your internet's
the-
I
on
do
that.
have one in my pickup, yeah.
Well, and that's just for like the communication with the meters and stuff like that
Sure.
too.
For the police department, that's what I asked. You have a listed police department.
Well, I think it's
We- the-
included in that too.
All the officers on the police department are provided a phone by the city because we are on call.
Okay.
And so, because we are on call, we have to be able to get, our dispatcher, the city office has to be able to get a hold of us 24 hours a day.
Okay.
That's why.
And it's $400 a month for 3 people?
443.55.
Well, we have four cell phones. And we have 2 Wi-Fi hotspot in each patrol vehicle.
And it's $400 a month? That's,
Want to see a statement on that?
well, I think I have
Look at the red
six
appropriation.
phones plus on my cell phone service, and it's $200 a month.
I mean, it might be something maybe we need to check into, maybe text
Who's the carrier?
Is it Verizon?
No, it's next step.
Next Tech is carried
Oh,
out.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what appropriation you're looking at.
Was the one that
You
was
say
in my
Verizon?
packet.
Yeah, it's right here, it's appropriation 0703.
Yeah, this is next.
Yeah, it's next Tech.
Oh, put it down.
Phone and
I
Wi-Fi.
was, did you say next tech?
Maybe there's a cost of phones in there, but,
Very well could be.
on my bill, they're all
No,
iPhone
400,
6s plus.
that's for like all of everything. That's not just the police department. It says
Okay.
phones and Wi-Fi and police department cell
Okay,
phones.
all right.
And
Yeah.
electric department Wi-Fi as well.
Well, no,
That one?
Yeah, part of his is under this,
Yeah.
because we already had the account open.
Right.
and then the
It's an
other one
all-in-one
is through
account.
Verizon.
Yeah, part of that Verizon's gatekeepers.
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
it?
what
Right,
it is.
the gatekeeper.
Yeah, the
Yes.
gatekeepers for the meters,
Okay.
yeah.
And that's the bill, we were with CenturyLink, and that's we were paying like, wasn't it like over like $900 to $1,000, and we cut it back to the,
If you look at Golden Bill,
I think that is.
that is
next
through
step.
Golden Bill.
okay.
Mhm.
Bell telephone next to
Yep.
Quarles.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one that we
Golden
cut
Bill
down.
next to tomorrow, okay.
Mhm.
You got faster internet anyway, it's fiber optic
Yep.
versus DSL.
Anything for Adam? Or, excuse me, I thought we jumped back on to Adam, so I wanted to ask if there was anything else
Oh.
regarding that issue.
Also-
Good? Back to Jamie.
Okay, so the on-call pay, basically for the handbook, John's suggestion, instead of having the on-call pay in the handbook, he wants it like in the minutes. So I'm requesting that we make a motion in these minutes so I can just attach one, so I don't have to go back and try to find where you guys made motions for the police department on-call and the, who knows where,
Sure.
shop guys. So,
I don't even know what shop guys get.
they get
40,
8,
40, and 30. They get 40 for Saturday, 40 for Sunday, and 30 for a holiday.
they get $80 a week and then $30 for a holiday.
For one person, Jeff?
Two.
Yeah.
Two?
Well,
But
each
one
one
person
gets that.
Each for each one.
So they get $80
They
a
get
week and
$80 a week.
$30 for a holiday.
Yes.
And then if they get called out,
And
they're
then
out.
call out time if they
Call
got
out
called.
time, just
Yeah.
paid time, right?
Yeah,
And how far are they on the leash, Jeff?
25 minutes, 25 miles, 30 minutes.
30 minutes, great
Yeah.
band.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
And
I
I
just
don't-
need a
It
motion.
wasn't ever in the minutes, is what you're saying.
I don't know if the shop guys were ever in the minutes. I know we had discussed the police departments recently, but to make it easier for the handbook, I would like it all in one spot, so I don't have to go try to find when someone talked about the shop guys on-call pay, because I have no idea where
That
to
way, when you
begin.
reference the handbook and the attachment, you can look back at the date and
Correct.
see what attachment it is and look at the minutes.
So I'll
from
just
there.
attach the minutes as attachment H or whatever it's gonna be,
Sure.
and it's gonna have it all in there. Instead of, John said to not reference it in the handbook, he wanted it as an attachment.
Right. It just cleans up the handbook, so that you have rates and everything else in there.
I'm sitting here and I don't agree with the rates for the city guys though. We're gonna pay them $30 to be on call on a holiday,
Yeah, it's different than Saturday and Sunday.
and
It's always
we're
been
gonna pay
that
them
way.
$40 a day on Saturday, Sunday, that ain't right.
We'll
Yeah.
make every day a holiday.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, why would you pay them less for a holiday, especially if they got
Well,
family?
but they'll get that in addition, is it in addition to their day?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
we
a-
all get the
But
same
still.
day. I mean, you
So
know,
they'd be making
but it's-
70
But
bucks.
It's
you're
already-
tied to a leash for 25
Right,
months.
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
for a week.
Well, I
Not
mean,
just
if you're on,
Saturday and Sunday.
right.
a
not
lot
just
of times,
Saturday and
yeah, a
Sunday,
lot of
that's a whole
times, see,
week
they're,
that they're tied to.
like with Thanksgiving and
Yeah,
those, where you have a long
It's
weekend, why they.
$80 for the week, and if a holiday happens to fall in that week, they get an extra $30. It's
But they
not
don't-
per
Our guys
day.
can't go in.
But the
realize
downfall
that.
to that is they don't get time and a half, see? They've been cheated out of their time and a half, so if they get called out on that day, it's straight time,
Right.
because they haven't worked 40 hours.
Right,
So-
that holiday, yeah, unless it falls from a Saturday or Sunday, which,
Yeah,
And if they get called out on Saturday or Sunday, they get time and a half,
if they've been here all week,
if they've been there.
if they
Yeah.
work for it again.
yeah. They have to be here for work 40 hours first.
I just think if you're gonna, if they have a holiday in there, you ought to pay them a little more for being tied down for that day. I think it ought to be at least 40 across the board on it.
Here's your chance to change it. I just need a motion.
I don't know.
Thoughts?
I don't have a problem with that. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna be on call Christmas, working 3 hours
Did you
on
just say our
Christmas. and you
budget's
don't
in
get-
trouble with Amy? Wasn't that what just
Yeah.
came out of your mouth?
She didn't say it was in trouble. They don't know that yet.
Yep.
I'd say leave it the way it is till we find out what our budget looks like.
We can always change it,
Yeah.
revisit it.
We
I
talked
think
about
if you give a benefit, you should take that benefit back down. If you're gonna jump it now, and then you're gonna take it away, once you see where your numbers are, you ought to wait until you see your numbers
And
and
I'm
then
fine
give them
with
the
that.
increase.
I'm fine with
fine
that.
with that.
That's okay with
We'll see
me.
where our numbers are.
Fine.
Right,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
we're gonna be looking
But I
at
think
next
we ought to
week.
look
so-
into it.
right,
Yeah.
right. 40, and 30
Yeah.
for the holiday.
For all across the board, everybody.
That's for the
That's
city
the way it has
workers,
been for quite a long time.
That's for
yeah.
city.
for the shop
For
Guys,
the
guys.
for shop guys.
We've already set the police department at, do you remember?
Know what the
I do, but I
specifics-
don't wanna open my mouth because it's less than what the other guys get. And they're tied to a leash in city limits.
No, they get more.
No, they don't. For up to 20 hours, they get $40.
Right.
For up to $40, 40 hours, they get $80, and then it's additional after that. So per pay period, they cover 20 hours of on-call per pay period.
But you gotta think, city employees work at 7:30 to 3:30. But that guy's on call from 3:30 that day till 7:30 the next
7
morning.
o'clock.
And then the following day from 3:30 till 7 o'clock the next day
I had
for a
guys
week
out.
straight.
I had guys
So
out
they're
4
actually
times
out
last
more
night
on
for
call
I
time.
got
and
you,
no time and a
I
half.
got you.
I mean, so they're getting $80 a week.
Right, I thought theirs was shift.
Huh?
No,
No.
theirs is,
Wait,
I mean,
Just disregard
It's
that.
Monday to Monday.
they roll their, I think you guys roll your employees on call time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody rotates
Yeah,
out.
sure.
I mean, you have water and electric guy
Yeah.
on call each
But like
week.
last night, you know, we had a chlorine failure out at the water plant yesterday. I had guys out there every 2.5 hours last night. They don't get any time and a half because tomorrow's a holiday, see?
Right.
So they took it as straight pay. So, I mean, there's a disadvantage to that too, so.
But they put in, I mean, they're on call, that one person's on call for, is it 5 days or 7 days?
7, Monday to Monday,
So I
yeah,
mean, they've got a lot of hours.
They've got a lot of
for-
hours being on call.
yeah.
That's
So,
my-
but yeah,
that's my
yours is,
misunderstanding.
So it's
Yeah.
$40 for the first 20 hours and then $2 per hour after that? Is that what you said?
It's 40 for the first 20 hours,
See that,
80 for the
Up
first
to
40, and then anything over 40 was
$2.
$2 an hour on the police department.
That's how we had it set.
80
That's right.
for 4 hours. I should probably know that, huh?
The payroll girl would know that.
Pam does know that. Okay, would you like to read the computer for a motion? I have it all written out for you. Jim, you're closest.
So
Maybe I don't want to move that we accept this.
Someone else can do it.
Here, I'll read it.
You can move it and not vote for it.
She'll read it. Hey, you've already put this in. I move
Yeah.
that we have the shop. You want that just shop guys, or how do you want to call it? Shop and city employees on-call pay to be $80 per week and $30 per holiday. In the police department, $40 for 20 hours on call and $80
40 hours.
for 40 hours and $2 per hour bonus after that.
Second.
Motion by Doran. Sanders has the second. Any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
3-0.
It's 3-0. Doran abstains.
Motion.
Hey, Jimmy.
Okay, so car show. Would you guys entertain the possibility of maybe having a craft beer tasting at our craft show?
Car show.
Yeah, car show. Craft show. Yes, we can have a meeting there.
Too much craft beer on it.
I was going to look into everything that I need, and I talked to John. And I want your blessing before I go do all the work, pretty much. Because I'll have to get the license, and then I'll have to have the area approved and roped off and all of that.
I'm fine with
I don't have a
whatever
problem
you
with
want to
that.
do.
Yeah.
If you're bringing people to town and doing stuff, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I just,
Do you need a motion?
It's a unanimous decision.
Yeah, I don't
think
really
you're
think
okay.
so.
You don't
I
have
just-
consensus. Yeah, you just have a consensus.
I'm fine with
I'm
it.
good with it.
and we are having the car show on August 25th from 8 to 3, I think.
She's gonna have
So-
a dunk tank there that you guys are gonna sign up for to benefit the Jubilee Fund. Isn't that what you said?
That's what I wanted, but I didn't think you
Just
guys.
keep that in the back of your head, guys.
You don't pay me enough to sit on a dump tank.
All the craft beer you can drink.
You know, you still don't pay me enough.
Okay.
Is that mayor included?
Yes.
City employees as well.
No.
Okay. Dunk
Surely
the
it'd be
cheap.
hot that day.
Dunk the
I
cheap.
did.
There you go.
That is something that I thought of to try to get donations, but we have contacted an organization that I think is going to help us with like some fun activities
Cool.
to try to raise money for their organization. And I have one more thing from John. The email that I sent that I had forgot to give you with the
Sales tax.
yeah, the sales tax stuff. So basically, he was just going to share that in smaller communities where shopping may be limited, many people shop online. Online shopping creates two problems. First, consumers in most instances, and there are exceptions if the online retailer has a physical presence in the state, can purchase products without having to pay sales tax on those items. Second, smaller local retailers cannot compete against online competition where customers can save sometimes 10% by buying online where they don't have to pay sales tax. The United States Supreme Court overturned its previous decision in '92 to allow the collection of the state sales tax on online purchases regardless of whether the retailer has a nexus or physical presence in the state. So he's bringing this to the city's attention because of the sales tax. If the state passes the internet sales tax, it may increase the tax revenue that St. John will collect. but it also could have a negative effect by passing internet sales tax, and the legislator then exempts sales tax from groceries and medicine. It's the sales tax on the groceries and medicine that is supposed to pay off part of the grocery store. I know that taxes in general are not favored, but many small and local retailers were hoping for this decision in order to level the playing field. I hope the legislator lowers the sales tax across the board now that it will be collected from all transactions. So, from what I'm getting out of this, the grocery store is groceries and medicine, so we would be,
But we're not collecting our sales tax really.
well, and that's because of the tip.
It'll be up to the state as to whether they exempt groceries and medicine from the state sales tax. And I don't know that if that'd be John's decision, that our city option tax probably will be removed by the state too on groceries and medicine.
Right.
And since,
I
and
think
that's
we
what keeps
Right.
sales tax from being as horribly regressive in many states as it is in this one, because many states exempt groceries and medicine
Yeah,
from sales tax.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But,
But if
yeah,
it-
even if they did that, we still aren't collecting the sales tax from the grocery store because of the TIF
For
district.
at least 10 years.
For 10 years, but, you know, after that, yeah. it would-
I don't know, would we be able to collect sales tax from the grocery store after that on food items?
Well,
If the state exempted it?
Right, you're
No.
right, I mean, after
No.
10 years,
No.
yeah.
Well, even before.
well, we won't collect
We
it
don't
on
collect
it.
it.
We won't collect anything.
No,
anyhow.
no,
Right.
'cause it all-
It'd
it's all
be
in
up
the
to the
TIF district.
legislature what they do.
Yeah. That might put them in financial.
Might be
trouble.
interesting.
What else, Jamie?
I think that's it. We'll just call it that.
What for Jamie? Anybody? Got anything?
Just information.
Full of it. Oh, I am going through different things like with rates with these budget issues. I am going to be looking at rates in the previous, like the times that have been increased and different things like that. Just to have the information when we sit down for the budget stuff. So you guys are aware of what the history has been on the rates.
Did you find out how many gallons or
That's by the
thousands
water
of gallons
bill.
of water we use and how many, what our rate needs to be on gallons to pay
In
for?
2017, we sold 35,295,000.
And we charge by the thousand or? hundred?
Yes, by the thousand. The 1745 for the first 3,000,
Okay.
and then 558 for every additional 1,000.
Okay.
That 1745 is not only for 3,000 gallon, though, it's also for part of the repayment on the water projects.
So you have 35 million, so 35,000 times 17 cents. Right?
35 million.
35 million.
You said we bill by the thousand, not by
Yeah,
the million.
but
So
we
it'd be
sold
35,000
35
times 17 cents.
Where'd you get 35,000 though?
Because 1,000 times 35,000 is a million. And if you're only being billed by
Okay, I
the
understand.
1,000 gallons, or are
Yeah.
you being billed by the gallon?
Now you get billed by the 1,000.
So it's 35,000 times 17 cents, so it's not quite $70,000. Right? If we get water fees?
I don't know,
Is
Jeff
that
and
right?
I-
Lost you under.
What do we get water fees a year?
Well, I don't know if you can actually figure that though, because
But
everybody pays the 17.45. You pay.
You're paying you're talking dollars, not cents per gallon.
$17.45.
Yeah, for the first 3,000
For
gallons.
3,000
Yeah,
and then.
anything over 3,000 is 5.54 or whatever.
Are we talking dollars or cents?
$5.54
cents per
per
thousand.
thousand.
Yes.
Okay.
But see, I don't know how much of that is actually, I mean, you just however many meters you got.
That would be difficult to figure
720.
because some people have their meter turned on and they still pay the 1745 and they don't even use any water.
Everybody pays
No,
it, yeah.
That's your base rate.
Yeah.
You get up to
Base rate.
3,000.
How many did you say, Jeff?
About 720, give or take a little.
That's just if you have a water meter, right, Jeff? But what if someone has an electric meter and a lot but no water meter? They
don't
still get
billed-
charged.
They don't get billed for water.
Okay,
No.
just making sure.
Yeah.
So just off of the meters alone, just the bare minimum every month, you're taking in $12,564. That's
Just for the
not-
base.
That's just the base.
Right.
150,000 a year just off base.
And in the event that you were to look for any kind of loan or assistance or help with repairs or anything like that, your rates are gonna be, at least need to be up in the,
$27, $28.
and we're at 1750.
Yes. That's what we learned when we went to the
Right,
LOL.
right. And we're not ever gonna have enough revenue to pay for
The thing
the
is,
kind of thing that we're gonna have.
off of base, if you figure every house in this town for every meter uses exactly 3,000 gallons every month and nothing more, it's 2.1 million gallons. So we've got 33 million gallons going somewhere else. So maybe that figure of the parks is not out of the
Right,
ballpark.
right. Because what were we totaled at?
25 million gallons, wasn't it? Or 5 million,
For
the parks. What was the total on parks?
11.
about 12, I think.
Yeah, 11 or
For the
12.
three
Because we had
parks.
6 here and 3 at the
Oh,
other.
that's right.
I know in my house, we use probably 6,000 gallons.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, that's, but you know, I don't know how you.
I don't know how
There's probably
you
not
do it.
over 25% of the
Sure.
bills that go out that hit the 3,000. Most, 75% of them are probably over that,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
You know, we have some that use 90,000. I mean, you know, we have some that choose to water on city water.
Is it-
Use 85 or 90,000.
The parks are all metered, Jeff?
Yes. Everything we have is metered.
So,
Good.
I think so.
Just food for thought.
What was that figure? Who came up with that figure? Where did you get that figure from?
As far as if you're needing assistance, or if you're gonna have to, for what? What are you asking?
For sales.
The sales?
No, what, you mentioned something about what base rate everybody else charges. Is that what you said earlier, 23?
No, what we said was in order to get state and federal money,
Oh, is that?
In
your
the
base
event
rate has to be in the $27, $28 range so that you have the capability of paying back.
Right, because they're gonna say
That's
if you're not
required-
willing,
that's
if you're not
required
willing
by
to
the
help
state.
yourself, then we're not
For
gonna
the
help you.
grants and stuff that are on, it's about $28 and something for water, 26 or 27 for sewer.
Well, and it's,
Really?
the
Yeah.
biggest thing, the smaller towns that have had some of the issues like we have had, and talking to a few people, they said those towns are the same process because they have the low rates. These rates people wanna say are high, they're not. It's, they turn around and go, we've been in the same boat, and they come in and they says, you have to raise these rates before you can have any kind of assistance.
Yeah, you won't get
And
any. Pretty Prairie's a good example.
should have
They're
been
going through it
stair-stepped
right now,
here
and
in
have for the
North
last couple of years in order to get state funding for a water tower and a reverse osmosis plant because they need to do treatment too, but their rates have been so low that they couldn't do it. You can't get any financing at all. And it's long-term financing to pay it back, but you have to meet that threshold. in
I don't know
order to-
why 5 years ago or whenever they put in the treatment facility that it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal as far as our rates.
It was a different kind of that was a revolving state loan that we took for the nitrate plant. It's different than the grant monies and that stuff. This is through KDHE, the one that we have.
The one that we have now?
Yes.
Right, and
This other deal's a whole different deal. It was what was the name of that deal we went to, Jamie?
But that's for grants.
Yes.
If you wanna get a grant.
Yes,
Which,
yes.
the,
And you have to be capable of paying back at least 25% of it.
which the point that was made as far as the KDHE, where we went through that process for this plan, money's not gonna be there. There's no money there. There's not gonna be money there, is what the point was made.
$3.2 million on something that's
Right.
not even paid for and it's junk.
But what they're saying is that essentially if you were to have to go and do another project or have a problem like the current problem we're seeing, at some point, whatever your solution is, if you have to come up with a bunch of money, KDHE ain't gonna be there to help you. And you're gonna have to go through a different process in which those processes require the people of the town, the city itself, helping itself. And if they say, you're at 1750, you need to be at 25, we're not helping you because you're not
Well,
doing it.
and the other part
first,
the other part of the
point.
deal is that when you go for those, that 51% of your constituents or people that live in the targeted area that you're gonna do, whether it's the whole town or it's a quarter of the town, have to meet a certain income level. Or
Right.
have to be below a certain income level in order to qualify for it. Sure. But that state money is a 20 and 30-year loan money. But back to what you said, Marshall, I feel just like you do a lot of days, but the plant still has some value.
I
And,
realize that.
and it has parts of it that are very valuable out on the open market. So if we ever get to the bottom of where we're headed now, there's a good possibility that we can find a home for them vessels at a fairly large sum of money, we hope. You
The
know,
sooner
that's
the
what I
better,
wanted to
right?
talk about here, and I don't want to talk very long.
Sure.
But, you know, the mayor and I and Ned spent about an hour yesterday discussing, you know, where we're at, where we need to head, the problems we're having, ways to correct them. We hashed over a lot of stuff, I thought, really, in a short time.
Sure.
But where we're at right now, we want to bring to you the next meeting a kind of a round figure of what it's gonna take to evaluate what we have.
Just to get an evaluation.
All the way from the wells to the treatment facility, to the samples out of the vessels, to checking test wells to see where the water's at, bacteria levels, iron oxide, that stuff, so that we can get some kind of a game plan to bring back to you of whether the city needs to drill another well, where they need to go to drill it, what kind of options we have, or if we raise the rates enough that people quit using so much that we don't have to do anything. There's a lot of cards there, you know. So that's really all we know right now. But I think when Ned comes back in 2 weeks, we'll have some kind of an idea of how far we want to stretch this, how far you're willing to stretch it, what you want to look at, where we want to end up. So
What's Ned coming back in 2 weeks for?
we want to give you a cost on what it costs to test those vessels and that stuff to see what the contaminant is, whether the vessels can be flushed or whether the beads are going to have to be changed in them. Because right now the contamination that's in them, we're not getting the regeneration on those. Now, I think we've explained it once or twice before that where we used to regen at 300,000, now we're down to 250. We're not getting the vessels clean and back online the way that they should be. So whether it's all caused by one well or two wells or all wells, the contamination or whatever it is, the vegetation that's in that, I don't know whether it was 7 or 8 out the plant that we've got there, you know, just a cost to tell you what it's going to cost to do all that.
Right.
And then some ideas about where maybe we ought to head
An
after
action
that.
plan of what is it
A
gonna
long- a
cost to
long-term-
assess it.
A long-term
What the
plan
problem
to
is.
kind of see where we want to go.
Sure.
So,
Whether it's drill a new well or, we can drill a new well and bypass.
the state has some
Yeah.
options too, that if we would choose to go outside, if we go towards the Rattlesnake Creek, we have to give up part of our water rights to the state. If we go this way, we don't. We can pull the water rights from a well here in town, transfer them out to another well, whether we go 3 or 4 miles out, or whether we can do it next to a well we have where it's tested and it's healthy to use. or what we do.
And
So-
still use the old well for water in the park.
Yeah, you know, you have to take off what you're gonna use to water the park, you take that off of what the well's been rated at by the state for you to pump out of it. But still, it allows you to take that higher nitrated water to put on your private facilities without having to go through the treatment plant, so.
Why spend money to?
Just some,
water the
just some options, you know.
park? Treated water.
But I think we'll have a little better idea in a couple of weeks of things that we can throw on the table to you. and see.
Actually being able to sit down with Ned and kind of hear the same presentation that we had the last meeting in a non-meeting format, where it wasn't just a crap ton of information, if you will, just thrown at you. It's a lot to digest. A lot of what he was talking about made some sense, but he was talking about potential options of what we could do, and he said we just need to find a starting point to really see what the root cause is and where a potential fix could come from based on what the cause is, because we don't know 100% what the exact cause is. And how
I
to
don't
fix that
think it's
cause.
really a case of if and when, I think it's a case of when and how.
Right. Right.
It's gonna have to happen, but when.
It's not an amount of how. It's not an
If you
amount
need
of are
to.
we going to spend. It's
Exactly.
how much
How
are
much
you
are you
willing
gonna
to spend, because you're
That's,
going to
that's
spend.
basically it,
Right.
so.
It's an issue that's not going away. There's going to be some money spent.
But
whether
we
it's
know
this much or
too,
this
I
much.
know as well as you guys do, because I pay it too, that we don't wanna throw out something that we can't swallow. But by the same token, by state requirements, we have to provide good, clean, healthy drinking water. So,
And it's our obligation as a city that we
it's,
provide.
it's the rules.
Right. Look at our permit.
It's the rules.
Look at our
So,
certificate.
anyway, that's really all I have, is just, you know, we wanna sit down, bring some things to you next meeting that.
Would you
that-
bring those in printed form?
Yes, I will. Be glad to. Be glad to. So, you know, we've talked about a lot of things.
It's only
I think we have a lot of options.
6,000 gallons of water that's consumed.
And the farther we get away from the edge of this, going this way, the better the water gets. It's pretty cut and dry.
And essentially, if you go out there, you can cut the nitrate treatment part out of that
And
plant.
that's what we're thinking. We're thinking in the long run that if this works, then we could leave it as a blending plant, which is what we do now. And the treatment vessels would be gone.
Would that mean that you start putting chlorine back in at the wellheads?
No, we'll still do it the way we do it.
Let's see, that don't
But you
solve any
still
of the
have
problems with
vessels
our.
then.
We don't,
If
we
you
would,
make it a blending.
no, the vessels are for the nitrates only.
Yeah.
That's all they're for. We do not treat that water with chlorine until just before it comes in this tower. Everything's
you're-
raw inside the plant.
The problem is you're still gonna have all the other stuff. Of course, it's not going through the vessels. That's the only difference.
Yes.
The iron oxide, the,
Well, when that well goes, that iron oxide will come way down. We're pretty sure. Now, I'm not gonna say it won't still be there, but there are different ways to treat that than there are by running it through the vessels, so,
Can't you treat the iron oxide after
yes, you can.
the iron forming back?
And we could go to chlorinating at the wells at that point too, if we need to.
well, I
Because
just
the
know that-
vessels, the
I
vessels.
just know prior to it, we never had issues like this.
Oh, no.
Prior to that plant, there were never iron oxide issues.
If you remove
Oh,
the
I think there
vessels,
always
you
were,
start
but I
putting
don't
back
think they
there.
ever
But you
showed
know-
up like that because we didn't have that problem, you know?
Right, because you were treating it coming right out of the wellhead.
The type of equipment that we use now to run this, the iron oxide's really hard on, without a doubt,
And it's gonna cost us money.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we use some things now that we've never used before at all, but, you know, then you would have the option of chlorinating the wells back there. The blending part of it is the unique part to me, because you can still use the wells that you have, like that number 6 well over west, that really has the highest nitrates of any of them.
And you can blend
And
it
you can
down
blend it with lower, almost no nitrate water.
and come out under.
Skater right on through,
You're
yep,
done.
keep out under 10 parts. So,
Yep, it might be a good idea maybe to see what those vessels or what our value there could potentially be.
I think an engineer could probably tell us, because they're still prescribing them in a lot of places.
It might be a good idea next time you're talking to
It's not like
somebody
we've really heard them.
to talk about
I
it.
mean, as far as that goes, but I could call a couple of guys in Manhattan and probably get a good round number as to what they're worth.
Sure. Okay. Anything else from Jeff?
Is this, we're talking about the water, or West Street, Fifth Street, did
What?
any new business?
What is that? I don't know. I don't know why it's on there.
Oh, is it a new business?
I think several of us got calls because of the condition of West Street,
It's on this year's agenda to be repaired.
okay? I talked to Phil Nesser, and he told me they'd be willing to do it if we did the legwork and located everything.
Are you talking about the asphalt part of the street or the dirt part of the
The
street?
dirt part of the street.
They were supposed to do it last winter and they never got to it. We'd already made a deal with them to do it last winter and they never got to it.
Because, you know,
They've
I
got
think
the
what-
equipment,
They've got the equipment to
Yes.
do it.
yeah, and he told us he would, but they never got to it.
What are they gonna do?
They were gonna rip
bring
that,
up
we
one-
were gonna try and work that up and get some rock down into it and get a base where we'd be able to drain that water off and take care of the road and give the road some base where it's all sand now. And they were gonna do it last winter, they were gonna rip it and do that, but they never got it done.
I think you need to dig a ditch on both sides.
On Southwest, you can't,
Why?
because you can't drain the east side of it. There's no
Go
place for,
south.
there's no place for, no, it can't go past the railroad tracks.
Well, go to the railroad right away.
It'll lay down at my farm, it needs to go north into a catch basin. There's catch basins on the north.
But you're running water uphill. Water.
No, we're
doesn't-
not going to the north, we're not running uphill. We drained it that way for years, in the west ditch. We sloped that road about 10 degrees to the west, we drained it in a ditch to the west and took it north. Every bit of it, except for a very little bit on the right of way.
Well, regardless, I'd like to see something. You know, I guess I didn't realize that the county was supposed to be getting on that. You
Yeah.
had an agreement.
Yeah.
It's a pretty heavily traveled road, and I think if that road is not traveled, if it gets bad enough, then they're gonna start coming through town, you know, semis that are, you know,
Oh,
trying
sure.
to get through town.
And we grade it as often as we can, but this time of year, it's kinda hard to get them to help us. I mean, we're kinda all in a bad spot in the
No,
road for now.
I understand, I understand.
I mean, we've graded it in the last few days. You know, you get on it when it rains, it's either wet or it's dry.
With a 60-foot right of way, why can you not put a ditch on both sides?
Well, you can, but what, you're gonna put culverts in every street,
No.
and where you gonna, if you drain it to the south, it's still gonna end up on the railroad runway. You can't drain it to the south, it has no place to go. Then you have a mosquito patch, it has to go to the north.
And where did we get rid of it in the north?
Catch basins at West Street and First,
Into the storm sewer.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, they're there, there's two sets of them
Yeah,
in the
there's
first
one-
block.
One at the south end of the co-op on both sides.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we drained it that way forever. We drained it to the west side and drained it north. I've been down on that dirt road about 35 years and I've graded it a lot of times. And we drained it and we just, because the streets are flat coming off of there, and the smart approach is to take it across the road and let it go north. If not, you're gonna put a culvert at every intersection and they're gonna be very shallow because you don't have that much drop. It has to drain into an open ditch. Marshall and I have talked about this too, about going so far as to either even put some kind of a pool back there to let it settle into and then coming back, but we don't want to be responsible for a mosquito haven and having to mow it and that stuff too. I mean,
And
and on the
south
west
end,
side, you don't have any culverts to put in except for two.
Cornwell's gotta have an entrance to it.
Cornwell's and Richard Lawson, and that's it.
But you're gonna have to build it up somewhat.
Somehow, yeah.
And south of the railroad track.
South of the railroad track, I don't know. We got about 200 feet of dirt. And it's a very steep slope. Very steep slope, because you're coming up the backside of those tracks. Maybe asphalt's the answer on the south side, I don't know. I don't know. I wish they did.
Yeah, cause it's flat and doesn't look to me like it'll even go on the railroad right away.
On the south side,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, but the slope coming up is what makes it so hard to grade. So, and there's no place for it to go. I mean, that's basically all county stuff. They maintain all the ditch and stuff there, so. About all we do
Could
is
we
grade
take the
it,
water south from the railroad south?
probably.
Is that something you can get in contact with Phil and just get a time, just wind above it?
Yeah.
Get your heads together.
But till their
get
road
some-
work's done, he's not even gonna
No,
listen, which will be September,
I
October.
understand, but
Sure.
I just know that we're still concerned about it
Yeah.
and we need, need some
And,
help.
and we've talked about it too, and he knows that, with their building and stuff last winter, that they just never got the opportunity to do it. But I'll discuss it with him again. But we're gonna have to rip it and build it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I just try to grade as much as you can.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't last very long when it's
yeah,
dry out.
but it still has to,
It-
there's so much sand on it, it's just so choppy, you know?
Having a scarifier?
We don't, we do, but I don't think our machine will rip that road. Not as hard as it is, I don't think we can rip it. Our machine's not big enough to rip it.
Can
If I
county
had
having a
somebody with a
scarifier?
400 horse tractor and a ripper, we could rip it.
County having a scarifier that they
They
can
do on their machines.
do on their big machine?
Yeah.
Okay, and the other.
And we
is-
really don't have anything in that street to hurt that we can't rip it, so.
Yeah, I think the other issue is Fifth Street, which looks to me like it has, as near as I can tell, about an 18-inch drop and a half a mile.
Yeah.
And obstructed by culverts and lack of culverts and driveways
Yeah.
on both sides. Can it be pulled up? Can we get county to help pull it
Manholes.
up and crown it?
Sewer manholes, there's the problem. Manholes above the street, all the way through there. Without building that street up a bunch, we can't grade it. The manholes are too high. We have them marked with posts in the street because we catch them every time we grade. There's just nothing there, you know, but,
And what's to the side of the ditches?
the south side, we have phone cable in the ditch all the way through there.
How deep? It's
It's pretty shallow. We need to pull the culvert at Hamples again. But I suggested to the guys when we pull it the next time that I don't know whether we take iron pilings, bridge pilings out there or what we do, but we plant them at the ends of that driveway where the culverts don't get mashed anymore, because it makes no difference how wide we make it. Somebody tears it up and they mash it shut, it doesn't drain. Now, we did get one deal this week. We took one culvert
I
out.
saw that.
And we would like to grade it again, but until they're done out there at the grocery store, every time it rains, the way they've got that dirt cut out there, all that water is draining into an area where we ran our water service in, and it pushed it out, and it made that hole the width of a backhoe bucket, and out in the row about this far mush.
What's wrong with keeping the road closed for right now?
Well, we can, it's unhandy for everybody, but I mean, we could close it. We have barricades out there. We graded it the other day, we pulled that culvert out, and we barricaded around where that is, because I'm afraid we're just gonna have to dig it back out. But until they get concrete or asphalt in that driveway and stop that water, it's gonna be a slop hole is what it's gonna be. And back up to the west, we have no place to get rid of the water.
Yeah, it has
I
to
mean,
go
we
east.
drain it into the VFW parking lot, it's just as flat as the road is. And you're right, there's probably not, I'd say a maximum of 2 foot from Santa Fe going clear out to the highway.
You'd be lucky if you get an inch per 100 feet.
Yeah, yeah, it's, you know, we pulled some culverts out there over the years, we pulled the one out of Burning Lights. You know, it's not in there anymore, but still, there's no place to take it. The ground's too flat.
Yeah, it's hard to move water at an inch per 100 feet, and you can't
So-
make it go uphill.
No, no.
With the issue on Fifth Street, I'm sure all, if not most of you are aware of Daryl Willinger hitting that pothole. I have been in contact with him, and I contacted our insurance. I gave him the form. If he wants to file that claim, he can, or we'll turn it in, and insurance will then investigate and leave it up to them. So.
That street's not a truck route. What's he doing on it?
coming out of
Maybe-
Hamels for
maybe-
fuel.
Maybe we could give him a ticket for being on a street that's on a truck route, tearing up the street.
All them guys coming in and out of Hamels for fuel, every one of them use it. That's another reason we can't maintain it, it's chewed up all the time. Between tank trucks, semis, everybody else.
It used to be they could go in there and turn around the building and go back
We-
out the
We
front
would
and
have
get
prayed
back
for
on.
asphalt. You have no idea how much we would have liked to have had asphalt out there. Because it would have solved every one of our problems. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, the manholes are up above road level. There's no dirt out there to pull. You could shoot a marble down the whole deal for almost a half a mile, because it's just flat.
So just again, as far as the Pullinger issue went, Jamie's let them know what their process is. If they'd like to pursue that route, that's what they need to do. We have a process for it. So if you hear anything or need to direct them to Jamie, once again, because there is that process.
And
How
file
much
claims.
rock would you have to haul to bring it up above your manhole?
Potentially.
I mean,
More than
that's,
my
there's
budget
nothing
could
we can
stand.
say, no, you can't file a complaint, right?
No, I mean, the insurance
Or file a
company will
claim.
come out and investigate it and
Either
deem it
cover
being
it
a
or
city
not.
issue or
Yeah.
not.
Okay, just making sure.
But once what the city was, just to let you guys know, once the city was made aware of the issue, the street was closed, so.
And I will tell you though, on the Friday previous to that, that we had graded that road. And that road was smooth. But then with 2 inches of rain over the
Yeah.
weekend and hitting that hole,
Hit the whole mush, just turn the road to mush.
and we were the last ones to hear about it happening. I mean, we didn't really find out till Monday morning. So, and as soon as we did, we went out there and took care of it. We spent most of the day, in fact, out there trying to straighten it out, so.
Leave it how it is. Do you want Jeff to close the road?
We've got the whole
It's
barricade.
barricaded, the
The
whole
hole, the
barricade.
hole itself is
The hole is barricaded with a flashing light on it. Now, the rest of the road is drugged where they can get back out there.
Okay.
We were gonna leave it closed, and I told the guys, I said, no, let's try and get it open, there's too many guys coming in and out of here.
My only thing is if it rains, Jeff, I say you go out and shut it down.
I think we do, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I think
if we
we've all
get an
come,
inch of rain,
I
I say
think
you
we've
go out
already
there
come
and
to
just
that
close it
conclusion,
down.
because we don't want this to happen.
Like, and you wanna shut it down on a promise of rain before,
Right, I mean,
because
well, the thing is, we got an on-call person, they can run
Yeah.
out and.
I guess I'm glad the fence was up there on the south side, or they might have been in the middle of that north right of way. You know, so, there, I will tell you, there was room between where the end of that hole was and the south edge of the road, to have plenty of room to drive in between there anyway. So,
I'd just say that if it rains.
Right.
close it
close
off.
the road, close it.
Close
We'll
the
close
road.
it. Yep, we will.
Good.
We sure
To
will.
avoid any problems.
Yep,
Anything
Yep.
else on that issue?
we will.
Okay, anything else for Jeff?
Nope.
We heard from what John had. Anything else from John? Anything for John?
Nope.
Okay.
I might make one comment before you finish. If, when the time comes and that is done, we are going to have that all located from there clear back to Santa Fe. And we're gonna try and find out if we can pull that ditch out to where we can slope that a little bit, because we've had problems at Danny's off and on for a long time. And people driving in his yard, people driving on this side. So, just to let you know, as soon as this is taken care of, we're gonna do that whole deal. We're gonna shoot it till we make it drain, especially now that we know we're not gonna get asphalt. We're gonna try something. We're not gonna leave it the way it is. It's a mess. It's a mess. Just like Southwest Street, it's a mess. So,
One more thing, Jeff. Are you gonna bring a report to us on, like, you went to Midwest Energy in Hayes one day about rates on?
Greg will
for the
probably come out and
contract?
do
Oh,
that.
okay.
We may, I imagine if I was guessing, Ryan, I'm gonna say we're gonna meet one more time before that comes up. Rates are done, I think, in January. I think probably, they're tossing around some things that they're wanting to throw out that the cities that meet up there would be like us and Colby, La Crosse, Larned. There's about 8 or 9 of us that meet with them, that I think there's some options that we're gonna try and look at one more time before I have Greg come down and explain them to you. So,
Sounds good, just curious.
yeah, yeah. And I think there's some great options. I think we might even see our wholesale electricity go down just a little bit, so. Because of the options, and it sounds funny to you, and I'll tell you why. Because with all the base wind energy, they're calling wind and solar base energy now. These guys are backing off from it, and they're trying to get rid of their other stuff too. So, if it doesn't go down, it probably won't raise, which would be a good thing, so. Anyway,
Moving on, mayor report, nothing more than what we talked to you about, Ned, about old business with the handbook.
Basically, on that, the committee met yesterday. I've made all of my final touches when I have these minutes attached, but they're not gonna be approved. So we'll figure that out. I'm gonna send it to John on Thursday, and once he's done with it, I will send out a digital copy to everyone. If you would like a paper copy, you can come in here and we can get you a paper copy, but it's gonna be quite extensive, so I'm just gonna send out the digital copy at first.
Hopefully
So,
John will be able to make his changes by next meeting, and we could make a vote to pass the handbook, is what we're trying to go for, if everyone's okay with what's in the handbook. So that's just the tentative schedule for that, because he wants to make it code book etiquette and make sure everything's
I
straight.
would just make the suggestion that as soon as he gets it done and finalized, get it out to all of us so we can read through the whole thing instead of
Sure.
maybe.
Right,
yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
just
send
even
it-
the
yeah.
Friday before is not probably.
No, as
enough
soon as he
time for
gets
me
it
to
done,
look
I will
through
be
it all.
emailing it to you, and if you would like a copy, come in and talk to me.
I would push pretty hard to make sure we do that, get that done.
He usually works on our stuff on
Right.
Sundays, so
Right.
maybe he can get to it this Sunday.
Okay. All right. No other old business, move on to new business. We took care of West Street, Fifth Street,
Took care
water.
of the water.
We took care of the water as well. No other business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved,
So,
and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carries 4-0. Meeting's adjourned at